Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 7 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live, and look, almost on time. You can tell that I've got loads of transfers in mind, like none, actually. Shout out to FPL Team, your best one-stop shop for all your FPL planning, which is particularly important when you've no idea who you're going to captain in Game Week 8. Me. Right, let's take you through some of the graphics. Before we get into the questions, I'll try and answer as many of your FPL dilemmas between now and the 11 a.m. UK time deadline. Correct score predictions and the top 10 for captaincy to the left-hand side of the screen. If you've got Haaland, stick the armband on him, kids. That's the advice. Then Saka over Palmer, then a cluster of Arsenal attackers, then Salah. That's the preference for captaincy. Right at the bottom of the screen, you'll see next 5 fixtures for all 20 teams and current flagged players as per FPL's website. Above that, you'll see the benching dilemmas. Seems quite important, I should imagine, this week. Many big name players appear on the benching dilemmas this week. They run in order, pages 1 to 4 outfield players, with goalkeepers on page 5. They run in order from left to right. The player with the tick is the preferred option to start. They continue to run in order left to right, pages 1 to 4. To the bottom right hand corner, you will see my predicted lineups for all 20 teams this game week. For the benefit of our advanced tier patrons, there is one change to that from last night's team news stream, with Axel Twanzebe pulling out of international duty. I've got Ben Johnson predicted to start today for Ipswich Town. And top right hand corner of the screen, you'll see my team, of which there is no intention to change anything. Rolling and transfer is the plan. Raya, Porro, Alexander-Arnold, Gabriel, Saka captain, Palmer vice captain, Bumo, Jota, Watkins, Solanke and Vardy. I know a lot of people aren't going to like Morgan Rogers first sub. That's the choice I've made. If there's any leak that suggests Diogo Jota might not start before the deadline, I'll be putting Rogers in the team in his place. That's the graphics done. Let's get into your questions. John is first. Says, good luck this week, James. Madueke out. Garnacho in. Thoughts, mate? Thoughts are, don't do it. Chelsea got a better fixture, quite frankly, this week. And I think the fixture you really want Garnacho for is Game Week 8 at home to Brentford. And it falls after the international break when Argentina play 1 o'clock in the morning on the Tuesday night / Wednesday morning. And although I'm sure he'll be back in plenty of time, we have seen historically so far this season of Garnacho getting rested after international duty. So it's a no from me, mate. Stephen Moore says, hi, James. Last spot on wildcard. Brennan versus Cunha Evanilson. Yeah, Brennan, mate. Says, I'd pair Cunha Evanilson with Dibbling and Brennan with a dud forward. Am I right in thinking both strikers are on pens? Preference is Cunha. The only thing with Evanilson obviously missed against Chelsea, right? So could it change? I don't know. Cunha, yes, should be on pens for Wolves. There's been a huge number of pens so far this season. I'd possibly keep that in mind as well. But yeah, preference is Brennan. If you want a dud forward, go Ross Stewart, Southampton, mate. Nikolai Utney says, morning, Jimbo. Hope you and fam are good. All well, thank you, mate. It's wife's birthday today. Happy birthday, wife. Everyone says happy birthday, wife. Alex Barrett says, Trent and Diaz to Porro and Foden. Not something that needs to be forced through this week, in my opinion. There has been some speculation I've seen from Spy and Cop say this in response to someone this morning. Yeah, listen, Zino, if you're watching live, I'm reading, I'm talking, and then I'm reading that as well. I can't do it, mate. It's what I've said. This close to deadline, you're not going to get me, mate. So I ain't got time to read all those messages you sent me, but I wish you well. Good luck. Pop your question in here. There has been some speculation that Gakpo might start for Liverpool. So I get that, and a lot of people were asking my stream yesterday, if we get news about Diaz prior to deadline, there's every chance we will get some news. But on the face of it, at the moment, my answer to that would be no. Hold fire as it stands. Billy Taylor says, yo, Jimbo, happy Saturday. I'm selling Trent to a 5.3 defender to afford Palmer. The only option I like is Kanate. But do you have any other preferences? Already have Collins, Mikalenko and Lewis. Mikalenko might be your bigger problem there, mate. So the speculation obviously coming out of Ukraine that he could be out for a few weeks. Collins, Lewis is fine. But if you've got Lewis in there, remember what I've been saying about Lewis and Vandenberg. Potentially don't put yourself in a position where suddenly it's like, shit, I've got 3 defenders and one of them's got a crap fixture this week. Like, don't put yourself in that position. And Kanate, yes, he's playing regularly for Liverpool at the moment, but the fixture's about to get tougher. Honestly, I'd be coming down cheaper, mate. I'd be looking more, I think, either at the 4.0s all the way down. But I get you don't want to do that with a Lewis there and Mikalenko there. You'll do worse than Mickey, but I said this on my stream yesterday. I'm really not keen at the moment on selling Trent. It's a personal opinion. I get the desire for Cole Palmer. Probably at this moment from available selections, I'd possibly go Mickey. I'm not convinced Kanate's worth that. Like, if he stays fit, he's fine, isn't it? They've also got tougher fixtures coming up. So, you'll have Kanate going against Palmer next week. Is that what you want? Then Kanate goes to Arsenal. It feels like saying, okay, we look at it in 4 or 5 weeks. He's still definitely playing regularly. Okay, that's an option. His goal last week was his first goal in the Premier League, I think. Although, admittedly, he scored in the Champions League before as well. So he's got 2 this season, so maybe that's changing. But he doesn't historically get many. If I had to go down there, Billy, I'd probably go Mickey. Just because I'm not huge on Kanate at the moment, so I'd rather just come down cheaper. But you're going to cut yourself off for quite a few players, I think, mate. You ever want to go, you got thinking, well, oh shit, I want to go back to Trent. How are you going to do that? I think you need to think about that. Jody Pegler says, morning, James. Stop one of Smith Rowe, Dunk or Greaves. Thanks and good luck this game week. Probably Smith Rowe. City have the ability to concede an odd stupid goal, don't they? So probably still Smith Rowe, I think, out of that lot. Victor Sandberg says, if Diaz confirmed bench, swap to Bumo for the long-term plan or to Martinelli, the short-term fun pick. I can't decide for you, Victor, whether you want to buy a player for the short-term or the long-term. I can't decide that for you. I can't see the rest of your team to make that decision for you. So the 2 players you've named, absolutely fine. Possibly prefer Trossard as a shorter-term pick, to be honest. But I can't answer for you whether you want the short-term or the long-term pick. The options are fine. Lemon says, morning, James. Which one would you bench out? Porro, Welbeck and Calvert-Lewin. Also starting Rodgers and Lewis, and haven't considered benching them, although no others have. From your question, Porro, mate. Nikolai says, lastly, looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the Diarra ruling. Looks scary. Yeah, we haven't quite got the full info yet. Obviously, we did a Money in Football podcast on it on Thursday. It's potentially going to move a lot more power back to players again. We'll keep an eye on it. It could be that it's not a huge deal and FIFA just basically need to rewrite a couple of sentences of their laws to get around it. So it might not be that big a deal. We're not quite sure as yet, but I think it will kind of unfold quickly over the next few days. Zara Kennedy says, hi James, new patron here. Hello Zara, thank you. Zara says, thanks for the content. You're very welcome, mate, thank you. Trent out for Kanate to fund DCL to Solanke. Yeah, I'm keen on Dom, you know that. But I'm not keen on binning Trent yet, personally. I'm not keen. I know it's been a bit quieter the last few for him statistically, but I'm not keen. I can only answer it from that perspective. Someone asked me yesterday, Trent or Solanke, and that's essentially what this is. And I was like, that's mighty close, that. I said probably slight preference is probably with Dom, I think. Potentially because of Liverpool's fixtures coming up as well. But, yeah, there's no thought for me to move on Trent at this moment in time. I get it. I feel like it's close enough. Zara, I wouldn't. The fixtures aren't this week like, oh my God, Solanke, he's got Southampton at home. It doesn't feel like that. So I'd roll, I think. Ludwig says, morning, James. Assuming Foden starts and Jota doesn't. Wouldn't assume that. Would you move Jota and Watkins to Foden and Solanke -4? Cheers and good luck tomorrow. I spoke about Foden a lot yesterday, and I get the desire to get there. City's fixtures are great. No one wants Savinho, Doku, Bernardo Silva. These players I keep saying kind of don't really waste your time on them until they're showing sustained form. So I get the desire for Foden. It's the only one you have any trust in, really. The price is good. Should he hit near the form that he showed a lot of last season? The problem I have with it is we know that Kevin De Bruyne will be fit in Gameweek 8. They've now got Ilkay Gundogan back into the mix. And and obviously Rico Lewis can fill in one of those kind of 10 roles in terms of him moving in there. I just don't know where it sits at the moment, and I'm not sure that we're going to know in 2 weeks either. And that's not to say I won't go and buy Phil Foden in 2 weeks, right? Because if he does really well this weekend, looks good over the international break, I think, okay, yeah, there's something there for him. The Champions League fixtures are not too bad, so you would think in the short term he would probably play the Premier League games if he's considered that important, rather than the Champions League. I just don't feel we've got enough info there to be taking out, Watkins on a -4 when he's playing that Manchester United this weekend. No, it's desiring something, but, if Jota starts today, and I think he will as it stands at this moment, for me that's a no. Solanke's away to Brighton. Did that good, mate. Watkins got the better fixture this week, hasn't he? JP says, I have Gabriel, Trent, Robinson, Mosquera, Barco, 0.6 million in the bank. Do you recommend starting Robinson or something else? I would consider, look, Mosquera is completely dead to you, really, in the sense, at least with Barco, he's not going to lose you any value. I would be really tempted to go Mosquera to Vandenberg, personally, under that circumstance. And then I think you're probably quite happy to play him this week. I can't guarantee you that he starts, but I think he does. That's probably the move I'd be looking to make there. Richard Nyquist says, morning, James. Haaland back in here today, but need to find the final million. Eze to McNeil or Diaz to Brenham. Well, obviously, if Diaz isn't starting, and we don't have that information yet, that's going to decide that for you, isn't it? So from that perspective, a little irrelevant. If not, it's probably arguably still the one I'd do, because I just think if you fast forward a week, which might, if we're sitting here in game week 8 and you've got the same choice, which one do you make? And I think actually it becomes the same, Diaz to Brennan Johnson. So Brennan, but I'll probably wait till quite close to the deadline. You'll feel better that way. Milan Rizavi says, hello, James. Would you do Welbeck and Jota to Solanke and McNeil? We're all high on Dom, aren't we? Which I have no problem with. Would bench McNeil this game week? My only concern is selling Jota this week will be priced out if I wait. If Jota's starting today, I don't see where Solanke is definitively better than Jota this week, other than, probably a little bit more on the expected minutes. Welbeck against Tottenham's high line, etc. You know that Brighton will have a chance at some stage. I won't bother, mate. I understand what you're saying about the being priced out, but you could make a different decision. I don't think you are priced out, because next week you can make a different decision that's not McNeil, right? You can come down a bit cheaper, Tyler Diblin, whatever. You're not priced out of Solanke per se. Also, if you're getting in McNeil and you're benching him this week, you can't be that high about him. So I don't think you are pricing yourself out. So I'd wait, mate, subject to the Liverpool team news if we get it, obviously. And for our patrons watching live, obviously, if there is anything going around about Liverpool and any other team, obviously, do tag me on Slack so I can share on stream, and most importantly, so I'm in the know and not just chatting shit to people that isn't true. But there's no info as of yet. Aidan Blockley says, hi James, good luck this game week. I have 2 questions if you don't mind. Who would you prefer to bring in for the long term, Garnacho or Eze? Garnacho, but as I already answered for someone else, that game week 8 problem, what are we going to know? Who would you bench this game week, Garnacho, Rodgers or Vardy? Wow. Probably Garnacho. Shit as that is. Nigel Sam says, morning James, 2 free transfers and 2.2 million in the bank. João Pedro to Solanke and bench Smith Rowe, or Smith Rowe to Johnson / McNeil and bench Pedro. The latter allows up to 5.9 replacement for Robinson, else I have to pay him or Fast. I don't think playing without Fast this week is terrible. Like, it's okay, isn't it, at home to Bournemouth? Under Steve Cooper, could they grind out a 1-0 home win or so? Yeah, I don't think that's terrible. And he is their biggest threat from set plays as well. So I don't think that's terrible this week. yeah, the preference for me, I was clear about this on Monday and the opinion hasn't changed, is the best Tottenham attacker will be Solanke. I'm pretty confident of that. Brennan's also perfectly reasonable to get at the moment, but if you're asking me, I want a Tottenham attacker, Solanke or Johnson, I'm going to say Solanke, mate. Ishan says, hi James, on wildcard, best 4.5 million defenders going forward. Also thoughts on Johnson versus Kulusevski. Kind of just covered that. Each Johnson at the moment. Spoke about that quite a bit on Monday. In terms of 4.5 defenders, I think the answer would have been Mickey, but obviously went up overnight. So I think you're falling back into the line of, honestly, Sepp Vandenberg at cheaper. There aren't many that I truly like at that 4.5. I think Mark Gay might not be a bad one beyond this week, but I get why you don't want to look at that at the moment, and you probably don't want to use it this week. I understand that. Failing that, there's nothing that really stands out. There's really not. Mikalenko would have been one. I think he would have been the one I'd said, but there's, as I said, speculation coming out of Ukraine that he's injured for a couple of weeks. It's not great. It's up to Lewis, or for me, it's down to Vandenberg. There's nothing massively I really like in between. It's just not at the moment. Not to use regularly enough. No, yeah, I could say Joachim Anderson at Fulham may be one as well. You don't want to use it this week. There's nothing great there. That's genuinely my opinion. There's nothing great there. So I'd rather not spend there. I'd rather just go cheaper. Who is next? Peter says, good luck as always, James. Thanks for the great content. I'm captain Haaland because I don't have the cojones to captain Saka this week. It's fine, Peter. Genuinely, my advice to people who've got Haaland and having a debate, just captain Haaland. Kind of threw a bit of a gunsling yesterday, me and Suj on our Patreon podcast, and it's like, look, if you got Haaland and you're sitting there debating captain at home to Fulham, it's not that you have to. Saka hasn't scored since game week 1, man. Haaland go off any time. Not get a hat-trick in that fixture last season. For me, if I had Haaland, just be literal no debate on the captaincy, and I don't think it'd be any debate over the next 3 weeks at least either. It's just Haaland, done. Forget about it. Think about something else. Vanessa Valentine says, hey James, wildcarded last week. Would you go Salah to Saka, or Mikalenko to Davis, or roll? Thanks. Unless you're fully intending to captain Saka, I think it's a roll. Mo at any time, mate. I think that's a roll. Tim Johnson says, hi mate, start Vardy or Garnacho. Cheers. It's Vardy. Dara Sam Maguire says, morning James, thinking Salah and Watkins to Palmer and Havertz with 2 free transfers. Do it or roll. Also, what would it take for you to do the Robbie Keane celebration in game week 39? Best of luck, mate. There's no chance we're doing a Robbie Keane celebration, my sciatica, mate. There's no chance. I've done it plenty. I nearly got thrown out of a club in Stevenage once for doing that. That's a true story. Literally as I did the gunsling and looked up, the bouncer was there. So no, I won't be doing a Robbie Keane celebration. I don't think it'll be well, actually no, don't say that, James. Yeah, no, sorry, there won't be. In terms of your transfers, I mean, look, if you're going to get Palmer and Havertz in, you want to do it now, don't you? I get that. Salah's at Palace who are 18th, Watkins at home to that Manchester United. I don't know, man. It's international break. Wait, the power you can have having free transfers on the other side. Personally, for me, I think it's a no. Personally, just sit. Get it. Palmer and Havertz could both do great this week, but what Salah and Watkins can't. I just think there's more power over the international break. Something that will go wrong. Something that will get injured. Something that will change your opinion. To have free transfers on the other side of this, I think it'll be really good. More information on City is a really good reason, I think, not to make a transfer as well. Lemon says, my patient plan for next week was Salah, Watkins to Haaland, Brennan, Johnson, but now unfortunately been priced out because of the double rise. Who's the best 6.4 million or less midfielder to go for instead of Johnson? Jeez. I know plenty of Mavadidi at the moment. If you want to come down to that, next 4 fixtures are pretty good. It's not. You look. I mean, look at the fixtures this week. Like shite. I mean, Decky is Decky 6.2. That's Kulusevski. That's probably the answer, isn't it? I think Kulusevski's 6.2. That's the answer then, isn't it? If you've been priced out of it. Nigel Sam says, which defender under 6 million do you see scoring the most points over the next 5 to 6 game weeks? Pedro, mate. Pedro Porro. Yeah, but that's not changed for me. Konstantinos says, hi James, thoughts on selling Trent now for a hit? Nah, man. To either Calafiori or Lewis, already got Gabriel and want to move Semenyo to either Bruno or Foden next week. So just keep Trent this week and do the business next week. Nah. I won't have hits for defenders, guys, unless it is buying someone like Trent, or unless the player you're selling is injured for a significant period. We're like, okay, I need to get this sorted because I'm not going to be able to get it sorted. You're just not going to get it from me, guys. Sorry, I'm consistent on that, so it's a no. Steve says, hi James, I've had my hours sleep after night shift. Have I missed any team news or links? Thanks, have a great game week. You too. The answer to that question at the moment is no, nothing. If I hear of anything, I'll let you know. Sam Routledge says, morning James, hope you and the family are well. Benching dilemma, I need to bench one of Robertson, Rogers or Eze. I have Trent, if that makes any difference to the Robertson selection. Thanks. I've got him in my predicted lineup. I think there's a chance Robertson might get benched today. I think it's a possibility. Had he not been substituted in Wednesday, I would have predicted Tsimikas to start today. Now, in terms of my predictions for the games, it would suggest that I say to you, bench Eze. I'm not sure that I could be having that. Based on my predictions, the right answer is Eze. But yeah, I'm not convinced about that. They don't feel right. I'm going to tell you that don't feel right. Eros Milicevic says, good morning, James. If we get news that Diaz is bench, would you sell for Johnson or start Wood and roll the transfer? Yeah, I completely get the idea of if there's information on Diaz of wanting to make that change. It's also circumstantial though, right? So as I said, for me at the start, I've got Rodgers on the bench, right? So I'm thinking, well, if Jota's benched, I'll just play Rodgers, and having the 2 free transfers is better for me next week. Now, if I was looking at it, it's like, oh, shit, my first sub is crap. Yeah, I'd be doing the same. I'd be going Jota to Johnson. So, circumstantial to what you've got in your team and who your first sub is, but on the face of it, yeah, sure. If we get the info, do it, mate. Eddie R says, morning, talk me out of a Solanke captain, please. I'm at the Amex Sunday. Come on, you Spurs. Last game of the weekend, Brighton's high line, on pens if Sun is out, posting and call up bounce. Have I lost it? Cheers. No, you haven't lost it, mate. I even said on COTC that, there could be a lot of goals in the game. But realistically, is he the best choice? No. Brighton might fix all their problems from last week. It's true, isn't it? Right, he's a new manager. He's gone in there. He's not been long. Last week they got exposed really badly. Does he go, okay, right, shit. I'm playing with our Van Heck here. I need to change that setup. He might. And I think that's enough reason to be sensible and say, no, great option. There's better captaincies this week. Ayub Seller says, good morning and good luck. Smash that like button, folks. Thanks, Ayub. Much appreciated. Hope you have a great weekend. There are, grim, about 15% of you smashed a like. Don't cost anything, kids. Come on, get them thumbs out. Or that finger if you're one of them ones. John Bailey says, hi James, I managed to get to 8k overall. Well done. Says, I have 4 free transfers. I do not have Haaland yet. Would you get him in? But would mean 2 of Salah, Watkins, Palmer have to go. What do you think? I think you already know my answer, mate. Look. To go without Haaland, especially over these forthcoming fixtures, you need to be able to stomach that. You need to feel that in your gut and say, all right, I'm happy with the decision. If you're not, get him in. Simple as that. If you think it's something you can't cope with, it's okay saying, right, I'm gonna get him in. And I'm not saying that I won't. I mean, I won't this week, unless someone suddenly told me that Watkins was injured. But next week I may come to that conclusion to bring him in, right? So I'm not sitting there going, don't do it. And I really dislike people keep saying to me, why is it you won't advise others to go without Haaland, but yet you are? I'm like, yeah, it's this. It's not that, oh, I want to take this journey by myself. There's plenty of others taking this journey as well, as you've just shown, John, and you're doing really well. You need to have the stomach to take it on. Now, at the moment, I feel like I've got it. Have you? And I can't answer that for you. That's how you feel. But to answer your question, my answer would be, yeah, take it on, mate. With that, the free players you're selling. Across them free players, you'll have a captain every week for this season. And it's not going to be as good as the big man, but there's this, isn't it? You put the big man in, you're taking 2 of them out. Way up. Rake says, hi, James. Paddy from Colombia. Glad to see Spurs playing so well. I thought Ange was getting sacked. Did you not think Ange was getting sacked 2 weeks ago? No. I thought everyone said he was naive and he was close. Nah, he'd be fine. Just talking to myself like I do. Hopefully the negative theme towards Ange is gone. Do you think Mikey Moore should play instead of Werner? Mikey Moore looked good midweek. Mikey Moore will not start tomorrow. Timo Werner will start. But that was really good for Mikey, where we can have this conversation properly after the international break. He's not going to play them 90 minutes on Thursday and then start tomorrow. No way. But now, next time he comes on the pitch, people ain't going to be thinking, oh, that 17-year-old kid, I hope he does well. People are now going to be going, oh, that boy's a talent. And there'll be people definitely now thinking, I want more to play instead of Werner. Get that. It won't be tomorrow, so there's no point even having a debate. Once after the international break, yeah, there's a conversation to be had about it. Yeah, I'm so pleased with Mikey. Those who've listened to us on Patreon and listened to the Tottenham pods will know how high I am on Mikey Moore's potential as a player. Liam Doyle says, hi James, which would you captain this week? Haaland, Saka or Havertz? Come on, Liam, you know how this works, mate. It's on the screen, mate. And I've just covered. And also, would you sell Jimenez this week for Delap? So I would only have to play one cheap defender between Van den Berg and Graves. No, I'm not sure I would. Yeah, Jimenez on pens. We know that at the moment. Okay, yes, City away. I get you don't want to look at it. I don't particularly fancy Ipswich this weekend either. So, no, mate. Garaden88 says, sell João Pedro for Calvert-Lewin, Vardy or Delap. Wildcarding in game week 12. Wildcarding in game week 12. My preference is Vardy. Just about. They've all got good fixtures over that period. I think it's really close. I went with Vardy a few weeks ago, so I'm going to say the same. Rob says, thanks for the content this week, James. I'm currently ranked 6.3 million. Any advice for my comeback? Yeah, very simple, mate. Play it your way. Simple as that, mate. I see these stories every year of people who have, you'll feel like a disaster at the moment, who have really difficult starts and bounce back and have great finishes. And there's also people, I'm in a good position at the moment. I just need one Haaland hat-trick to kind of kill my start again. If my players don't do well at the same time, admittedly. So it's really early in the season. Generally, play it your way, enjoy it. For me, the journey and the strategizing is more important than the outcome. If you're enjoying it, that's the main thing. And there'll be a lot of green arrows for you to come. So probably the enjoyment of the game is about to arrive for you. Zach says, good morning, James. I'm not an FPL expert, Zach. They did a whole podcast on this a couple of weeks ago. But Zach says, good morning, James. As an FPL expert, I'd love your opinion. You got the wrong show. Is Rico Lewis nailed? And if so, is he essential? Now I know you're taking a piss. Should I take a -8 or use my wild card to bring him in based on the rest of my team? Thank you. Zach, I know you're taking the piss. I wish you all the best of luck for this weekend. Anton Phillips says, hi, James. Start Wout, Fass or Robinson. I'd start Fass, mate. Or take a hit and replace Nedeljkovic with either Aït-Nouri or Gabriel. I have 2.9 in the bank. I know you don't like taking hits for defenders. Thank you. Well summarised, Anton. Yeah, that's an interesting one, though, isn't it? Nedeljkovic to Gabriel. Because, again, thinking about the longer term here, I would say to you, so you've got a dead player there. You've got a couple of others, like with Aït-Nouri, next week he's got Man City. I'm like, oh, crap. Don't want to look at that either. Admittedly, Robinson better next week, but it is Villa at home. So, the effect on this is you bringing in Gabriel for Southampton and Bournemouth, okay? And obviously he's there for you for the long term. And the hit basically is over a combination of probably 8 Norrie this week away to Brentford and Robinson at home to Villa next week. I'll probably do it. It's a rare one, but yeah, again, dead player doing nothing for you. The other two, it looks a bit ugly for the next couple of weeks. Great fixture for Arsenal this week. I'd probably do it. Yeah, rare one. Good question, Anton. Wish you luck, mate. Azra Khan says, would you... New round here, are you? It's on the screen, mate, and you've probably heard me cover it by now on captaincy. Ross Cordingley says, morning, James, no question, just good luck for the game week from sunny Bradford. And to you too, Ross, have a good one. Hillbilly, Pedro Solanke. I have to say, guys, and I really apologise for it. As soon as I see Pedro, I think Pedro Porro. He obviously means João Pedro. João Pedro Solanke, Jota to Brennan Johnson, Martinez to Muric, need a 4.4, worth 3 frees. That's an interesting one. I don't mind that. I think Pedro's probably got to go for owners. And if you don't want to stay at that value, I get one that's got Solanke. And the other two part enable it. Yeah, do you know what? I don't mind that, mate. Marcus Anselm says, thanks, James, all the best. Boa sorte, mate. I don't know what that means, but I presume it's like good luck in Portuguese or something. King of Mandalore says, is Vandenberg good cover for Lewis this week? My 2 4.5s are Colwell starting and Aina don't really want to start. Yeah, I get not wanting to start Aina this week. But remember they won 1-0 at Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, Vandenberg, fine, mate. Fine. I think he'll start. Can't guarantee he will start. And why do you need the cover for Lewis? He's going to play, ain't he? Maybe. Reminder to our patrons, if we've got any team news, let us know. Darren, can we quote a source on that so I can get it shared? It's a rumour going around that Curtis Jones starts for Liverpool, which, based on what I've seen so far, would mean Szoboszlai, I think, is a risk today. So, Darren, that's in reference to the FPL channel, or if anyone else is listening from the Patreon community, what's the source on that? It'd be appreciated. Okay, who is next? Uros Milicevic, start Delap or DCL. Sell Doggy. Destiny, we think, will play tomorrow. Hold that at the moment. I think Destiny's in the group of can't buy at this moment. But I tell you what, with the fixtures Tottenham have got over the next few, if Destiny or Doggy was, say, to get an attacking return this weekend, people talk about him instantly. Seriously. Or is it worth the saving of Porro? I've been down this route before. So I'd be holding on to Destiny at the moment, mate. Delap or Calvert-Lewin. Home fixture Calvert-Lewin. Slight preference. Excuse me. Sonny M. Salah, Solanke, Watkins or Johnson, Szoboszlai, Haaland. Solanke and Watkins, right? But you're asking the wrong person. Joachim, or Wakim, sorry, says, hi James, hope you have a good day. Start Pinnock or Leif Davis. Pinnock for me. Rake says, James, Paddy again, help please. If Diaz bench, Watkins and Diaz for Palmer and Stewart for -4. Do you mean that the other way round, mate? It's got to be. And do 3-5-2 or roll and bench with Diaz 3-4-3. There's a lot going on here, mate. Again, your effective here is Watkins to Palmer from -4. I'm not sure that's right, mate. Andrew Jarvis says, morning, James. Hope you're well. Thank you for all the great content. Like and share, everyone. Thank you, Jarvo. Much appreciated. Again, patrons, what's our source on this Curtis Jones news? There will be people out there who have Szoboszlai, which actually includes my wife, and it's her birthday. So, you know, as Marcus says, happy birthday, Mrs. L. Can I get her the information? Frederick Hertz, cheers, mate. How would you rank Adama, Dean Dunk start this week? Probably as you've written it. Yeah, I'd chance Traore on the... Would I really chance Traore? Would you, James? Would you? Would you really? Adama Traore? No, you wouldn't, would you? I'd play Luca Dean, mate. LP says, hi, James. Best Jota replacement for same price or cheaper. Jota, mate. Yeah, there you go. No, look, Boomo, same price as it stands. If you haven't got, it's fairly straightforward. If not, it's down to Brennan, I think, at this moment. As for Tariq, hang on. As far Tafiq says, is it time to move on from Smith Rowe and Rodgers with difficult fixtures coming up? Could free up a spot for Bumo or Solanke. Would restructure my team selling Robertson. Been no rush to get rid of Rodgers, and for me as well with Smith Rowe, once you get this one out of the way, next 4 or 5 look pretty good for Fulham. Villa at home, Everton away, Brentford at home, Palace away, Wolves at home. It's fine, isn't it? Again, like if in doubt, yeah, that'll be rolling through. Ben AU is wishing my wife a happy birthday. Connor Waterson says, morning James, love the content. McNeil or Semenyo for a Minter replacement. Probably McNeil. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I've just been sent the... Okay, that's a better one. No, it's not. Yeah, I'm not sure about these Curtis Jones sources, guys. Yeah. Not convinced about them at all. Sorry, just I know people want to know Liverpool information. Yeah. Yeah, listen, that might be right on that Jones info. I'm not happy with them sources. I don't know them well enough. That's the honest truth. There's 2 sources saying it. I think one is just a copycat chasing. One might be right, but I don't know enough about them. I'm just sharing that info. Ahmed says, morning James, should I start Conser or Dunk? Probably Conser. Mattia, morning James, Salah, João Pedro, Solanke, Palmer -4. I will have to bench Rodgers if I do that. I mean, yeah, I just don't think. Sit still, man. It's fine. I just leave a be. I get the will and the want for Palmer. Just remember, you're selling Mo Salah away to the team that's 18th as part of a -4, and that means you end up benching Rodgers as well. Sit tight. You know you can carry Pedro this week in your situation with Rodgers, right? Ali Ships says, morning James, do you think Brighton score? Yeah, I think everyone scores against us most of the time. Would you play Welbeck over Wood versus Chelsea as a Spurs fan? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. To be honest, even as a Porro owner, if I was sitting there with Welbeck and Wood, I'd play Welbeck. I think I might get attacking return off of both. Discord in my head. Hey James, does Maddison have higher ceiling than Johnson? I think because of the way Madders plays, if he scores, there's every chance he's going to be in the bonus and that. But Johnson's on it at the moment. Okay, noted. Thank you, Ross. There's a few saying that. So getting feedback that one of them sources on the Curtis Jones info is good. I think that would lead to Szoboszlai being benched, would be my instinct. Sebastian Castro says, good morning James, thoughts on this? If Diaz is benched, -4 for Saka captain, or take out Pedro for Havertz Solanke for -4 and captain. Oh, and captain Haaland. Cheers, happy birthday Mrs. James, have a fantastic day. Hang on. I mean, look, can I just say, Sebastian, either way, if you own Haaland, and I'm assuming you do, I'd be captain Haaland. Don't use... If you want to captain Saka, it's fine. Play it your way. My advice would be captain Haaland either way. Don't use the idea of captain Saka as a justification to make it happen. I've made that mistake before. Because I want to captain him, I'm justifying this. But actually, part of your hit there is to take the captaincy off of Haaland, possibly. I mean, that's part. I'm going to -4 and take the armband off of Haaland. Just sit down and think about that a little bit. I prefer sorting out the Pedro problem, personally. Matthew North says, what is your advice when two premium defenders play each other? So, here's an example for you. Okay, there is speculation. I'm only going to say that at the moment. Thank you, Jack, for the tag. I hugely appreciate that. There is speculation that Luis Diaz is not starting. I would prefer a second opinion on that before I say more. But that speculation is starting. And to be honest, that speculation was starting this morning via Spy and Cop. Anyway, was saying that they'd heard rumours that Gakpo would start, but it wasn't concrete. So it wouldn't come as a surprise. It's 17 minutes to deadline. Let's keep an eye on what's happening. Speculations, let's say, continuing and growing that Luis Diaz isn't starting. So yeah, hold fire at the moment is my advice on that before you jump to anything that you've seen. That's my opinion at the moment. In terms of Matthew, your question, advice when two premium defenders play each other. So here's an example for you. Arsenal and Liverpool play each other in game week 9. And as it stands, I will probably start Gabriel and Trent. That said, Wout Faes has Nottingham Forest at home and I might chance it. So it depends what your alternatives are. So I look at that. Home to Forest, could I maybe chance it? But I just think, every time I think of benching Trent in any game, I'd think, I think back to the FA Cup tie last year. I think, that's Trent assisting Liverpool's first goal, wasn't it, on the night, or the second goal? He scored at the Etihad last year. Genuinely play. Totally get away to City, especially if you've got Haaland as well, bench him. But yeah, at the moment, I'd probably play both. Is probably the plan for game week 9 as it stands. It depends who they are as well. If it's just a flat out centre back, if it's Saliba, Gabriel's more difficult to bench. If it's Saliba, it becomes a bit easier to bench, I think. Ishan says Palmer or Foden on wild card. Palmer. Tony McBride says James, our missus have the same birthday, so happy birthday to Mrs. Planet FPL. Good luck today. Good luck to happy birthday to Mrs. McBride as well. Our patrons are having good discussion at the moment. I'm keeping an eye on it. Let's make sure we double check the sources, please, patrons. Olmo Secco says, morning sir, how do you see Brentford Wolves panning out? Got this nagging temptation to start Milenkovic over VDB despite the latter's higher clean sheet odds. Yeah, I'd be starting Vandenberg, mate. Listen, I know Forest kept a clean sheet at Chelsea, really good defensively so far, only 5 goals conceded, but I'd be starting Vandenberg. I do think Wolves probably score, but you've kind of nailed it on the head, Olmo. Probability here is certainly that Vandenberg is more likely to keep the clean sheet over Milenkovic. Also, Milenkovic's underlying numbers are skewed massively by one absurd chance at Southampton in game week 2. So, no, I'd be playing Vandenberg, mate. J. Dobrowski says, we get news on Diaz. Should I go Foden, Solanke or Palmer Delap for Diaz and Watkins, or just save the transfer, have 2 frees? Hope you're well anyways, bro. Consider Brennan, mate. Just to sort the Diaz thing. Consider that. I'm kind of in camp Palmer now, but I very much would be camp Solanke massively over the lap. So I'd also probably not be in the camp of moving Watkins this week. I realise this is not helpful, but I'm telling you the truth as I see it. So I would be quite tempted just to go Diaz or Johnson. It will give you some Spurs coverage. Jay says, hello, James. I have a dilemma. If Diaz is benched, thinking to do Trent to Porro in order to fund Diaz to fill Foden. Thoughts? Okay, but as covered previously, I'm not high on selling Trent at this moment. I'm not I'm not there yet. You don't mind it. Sorry, it's a shit answer, but I'm telling it truthfully because I'm high on Porro as well, and I think we know the capability of what Foden can be. And if we've got the information that Diaz isn't starting, I understand the dilemma here. If the info is correct that Diaz isn't starting, probably a yes, Jay. But you can probably tell there's reluctance in me saying that. FPL Swat says, morning, James. Hope you're well. Worried that Saints might get an absolute lesson at Arsenal today. Enjoy your Saturday, mate. Well, let's hope they surprise, mate, and I wish you very well. I hope you have a good weekend, pal. Tom Reynolds says, hi, James. The no Haaland movement seems to be building with the likes of you, Ben Crane, and other good managers going without. Do you have any plans to get him back, get back to him? If so, when? He might be in my team next week. If he doesn't come back in next week, then I'm taking him on for a while. There's a real spell over the Christmas period, which is going to be really ugly to go without as well. If I don't bring him back in next week, I can't make promises again. If Watkins got injured in 8, it could easily be 9. But I think I'm certainly going to look at options to bring him in, and I already have. I've got to be honest, I don't like it. I much prefer my team without him in it, personally. These next few are going to be particularly scary. Then there's another really scary period, like, as I said, over the Christmas period, which will really need looking at. But I think, as it stands, I'm probably going to take him on. Shakamura says, hi, James. Good midfielder for 7.6 or less. Can I say Diogo Jota without having knives pulled out on me? I don't know, man. I feel like it would just need Jota to score twice today and people would want him back again. Brennan's the one to go to at the moment, isn't it? Hot on form. Andrew Jarvis says, you have Sanchez over Flecken on benching dilemma. What's the thinking behind this? Wolves more likely to score than Forest. Cheers. Chelsea better defensively than Brentford, mate. Simple as that, Jarvo. Simple as that. Almost Seco says another one. If it's leaked Diaz's bench, would you start Jimenez over him? Current thinking is he'll start Diaz regardless, but can't see a path of least regret. Yeah, I mean, if you've got the information that Diaz is being benched, you put most players above that, don't you? Shafwan says, would you make Jackson to Solanke move 1 week early? No. If you're on Jackson now, give that this week and get through the international break. Solanke wouldn't be the first player to get an England call up for the first time in a really long time and come out of it injured, would he? No one's going to clip that when he does. James says Bruno and Eze to Foden and Trossard from -4. I mean, on fixtures, I get the temptation on that. No from me. For free, yeah, -4, no. Obat Kipriani says, end up selling Salah and Calvert-Lewin for a hit to get Saka and Solanke. Thoughts? You know about, or actually, you might not know, but everyone else will know. My favourite questions in this stream is when someone tells me what they've done and then asks me my thoughts as if I'm going to go, mate, that was fucking terrible. What have you done? Like, I'm not going to do that, am I? Because I'm not that horrible. And I don't think that anyway. Like, what's the point? You've made your decision. You made your decision for a reason. Good luck. Andrew Dunn says Jackson to Solanke and Salah to Foden. Short-term plans and fear Mo putting managers on Palace backline. Also feel like Foden is about to go off. Right, there was a lot going on there. It was unnecessary. Jackson to Solanke, Salah to Foden. For me, no. I'd be sitting this week. Patrick Lawson says, would you sell Mitoma this week for a Johnson, Bumo, Trossard or Martinelli? I think the Arsenal guys, it's real short-term at the moment. But if you are thinking short term, then that's probably where the immediate gain is this week. Personally, I've already got 3 Arsenal in place, so that's probably why I keep thinking Johnson. But yeah, if I didn't have the 3 Arsenal in place, in all honesty, I'd probably go Trossard. Frederick Hertz says, do you see any short term punts that are worth a hit? Seems like whatever you move out will be good as well. Feels weird to sacrifice Watkins for Havertz or Boomer for Trossard. Yeah, and also hits this week. Hits this season. It's different now with the ability to roll these extra transfers, right? Trying to avoid them. I think many of us are. So don't look for aggressiveness if it's not there. Gally Bro says Wood or Colwill. And play Wood. 9 Tank 7 on pens as well. 9 Tank 7, that's me dropping my phone so no one's getting any Liverpool information, and the phone's gone fucking miles as well. 9 Tank 7 says Saka and Foden in for Salah and Eze for a -4. I mean, look, I've covered this a few times now, right? We're thinking about selling Mo Salah away to a team that's 18th in the league for a -4. This is where we're at, right? Did Mo not get 10-pointer just by scoring a penalty last week? Yeah, look, I actually think Palace and Liverpool will probably be quite low scoring, but nah, man. No, keep Mo at the minute, man. Ahmed says start Smith Rowe or Rogers. That's Rogers. Freeze FC says, hi James, I think you could grow a man beard. Can you grow one please and not shave it off until Spurs win the title? I had a shave and haircut last night, and it's the first time I've done it for ages. And when I was in the middle of doing it, I was like, have Spurs won every game since I shaved? I was like, shit. Then I remembered that, okay, we don't play again for another 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah, this is too messy and stuff, and my son's gonna hate it, so it's got to go. Andrew Sands says non-FPL early doors, I know, but when will the FA need to talk about Mason Greenwood? Love and kisses to all of them, those seen and unseen. What did the FA need to talk about with him, mate? Leave him in France. What do they need to talk about? What about him playing for England, mate? Get to fuck. Voyas Verta says, hi James, do you think if leaks suggest Jota is bench, I should replace him, and with whom? I have Saka, Bumo, Smith Rowe, Rogers, Jota. Well, if you're going to make the move, it's going to be the same answer, isn't it? Brandon bloody Johnson. Patrons, let us know if we've got anything. It's not forthcoming at the moment in terms of definitive stuff that I'd be happy with. Let's just have a little look around for a few accounts if they're saying anything. Maybe it's not come through yet. I know so many of you have been on, if Diaz is benched, it feels quite important at the moment to see if we can get info. I also have lost the ability to type, which isn't good. No, nothing now. Nope. Okay, interesting. Ragaf says, hi James, Diaz to Johnson or Madders? Covered, you'll know. Yeah, I don't need to say any more, do I? Covered. Bald Bean Counter, some with 25% chance of playing, so you're telling me there's a chance. I mean, I'm not telling you anything, that's what FPL are telling you, mate. It's just taken from FPL's website, mate. I think it's very unlikely. But Ange didn't say it was definitively out. He said it was very unlikely, is what he said. So, yeah, there is a chance. I'd be very surprised if Heung-min Son plays tomorrow. Shafin says, hi, James. Would you bring in Bumo for Eze for a hit? Nope. Free? Yeah, sure. Crack on. Hit? Nope. Not for me. FPL Frazzle says, hi, James. My dilemma today is to pick between Pau Torres and Aina for my back three. The expected concede is higher for Aina, but he also has more threat and haul potential if Nuno can coach another clean sheet away to a top six. Does he? Or did you not see the goal Manchester United conceded from the corner against Tottenham last week? I'd be playing Pau Torres. Ashley Wood says Smith Rowe and Collins to Foden and 4.3 or less defender, or just leave it this week and play Collins. I think Collins is fine for this week, mate. Tom Meds has said he's playing quite well at the moment as well, so just play Collins as it stands. I get the wheel for Foden now. I think Mikalenko at 4.3 would have been the one. There is a case to say flip that to go to Foden, and Vandenberg probably would be the one. I'm just trying to work out how much money have you got in there. I mean, if you've got all that money in the bank, then yeah, I probably would take the chance. You probably would do it, yeah. Foden and Vandenberg. Jacob Thrasher says start DCL or Rodgers. They're both on the bench in dilemmas. You will find the answer is DCL. Alex, most people disagree with that, I should imagine. Alex MJ87 says, morning James, 2 free transfers. Would you swap Salah and Watkins for Haaland and Martinelli / Trossard or Johnson, or save for after the international break? And you already know the answer to this, right? Save. But it's information from Anfield Edition, which has 427,000 followers on Twitter, saying that Curtis Jones starts and Diogo Jota starts. Ross, what's the latest source on Diaz? So it's coming back again, but I haven't got a source on this. Diaz definitely benched. I'm not too happy with the source on that. Yeah, I get it. Pedro, I like what you've done there. And Rocky's good, but Rocky might just be referring to his own team with that. He might be. He's FPL Rockstar, the original GOAT of team leaks. Easy suggesting that he knows Luis Diaz is benched from that tweet. Or is he just referring to himself and his own team because he's hearing the same rumours? He might be. Okay. I mean, I get it. Look, it's like a minute or so to deadline. If you're a Luis Diaz owner, I get it. There's enough noise out there that's going to make you worried right now. I completely understand that. My advice at this stage would be, if you are keen on having Luis Diaz long term, hold. And I would probably play in most scenarios. But if you've got a sub that's like a Morgan Rogers or something like that, or Calvert-Lewin, play it over Diaz. That's probably the advice at the moment with the information going around. If you got Diaz at 7.5 and looking at him now at 8.1, I know there's an international break coming up, I would strongly be considering selling if you bought at that lowest point and you can nick the 0.3 now. The advice would probably be, in the first instance, if you don't have full coverage of Arsenal, I would gamble Leandro Trossard personally. If you have full coverage of Arsenal, then I think it's Brennan Johnson. I hope that summarises well for people, right at this last minute. But as ever, guys, play it your own way, and I wish you the very, very best of luck with whatever decisions you make. I shall not be responsible for those decisions. Ramez says, hi mate, start Jacob Murphy or Smith Rowe. I mean Murphy. Thomas Thornton, start one of Vardy and Dyer, Porro, Savinho, probably Vardy. Well, mind you, if you've got Savinho, you've got to start that, haven't you? But no guarantee that he'll start. Random Killer, are you? Says, hey James, Trent, Eze to Foden and Vardy are worth it. It's going to be a no for me at this moment. Thomas Nielsen, Havertz for Jackson. Jackson's fine this week. Jacob NH, hi James, would you start Fass or Emil Smith Rowe? I probably would have gambled Fass, arguably, with the fixture. Nah, sorry, I wouldn't have. City conceded the odd silly one. I answered that earlier for someone else and said Smith Rowe. But you can tell it's close. That is the 11 a.m. deadline, guys. Apologies to those whose question I didn't get to. But I think many of you will understand my reasoning for trying to get the right information shared on Liverpool. And for me, there is no confirmation that Diaz has been benched, but all the noises suggest that that is the case. And we think Diogo Jota starts. We think Curtis Jones starts. What we didn't get was the other name that misses out. And I think that's probably Szoboszlai, I would think. So we shall find out soon enough. If you came just for the FPL deadline shit, smash a like. It'd be truly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you soon. Deadline stream will return same time in 2 weeks. It will finish bang on 11 a.m. because Tottenham are the 12:30 kickoff. So I will do the stream and disappear immediately. But I am happy to do a bit of a Q&A now on non-FPL stuff. If people want to hang around and ask some non-FPL questions, happy to cover for 15 minutes or so. And then, do you know what? I'll probably spend the majority of the day with my wife while trying to sneakily watch some football. Content. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. What happens on Patreon? What content do you do, James? Well, here's something for you. You can support us on Patreon as a free member. Yes, you can support the show without paying us any money at all. You just need to register, essentially. And part of that, you'll get a best bits, a highlights package, a 25-minute video that was released last night. It gives you a flavour of what the content is we do on Patreon. We've clipped like a kind of a little clip from kind of all the pieces of content that we've done on Patreon this week to give you a flavour of what our content looks like. You know, view before you buy, kind of, if you will. If you want to dive headfirst in, support the show at www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Either way, if you've got any questions, I'm always very happy to answer Patreon questions publicly, DM, here, now, whatever. Additional podcasts are available from Intermediate Plus tier. There is one a week available Basic Plus tier, and all the video content is available for Advanced tier patrons, with one of those pieces being made available for Intermediate Plus tier patrons every week. I can tell you the freely available content next week will be the Game Review podcast on Monday with myself and Such. Clash of Correspondence Tuesday is Nottingham Forest versus Crystal Palace with Mark Subbins and Rory McLaughlin-Dowd. Clayton and James show on Wednesday. COTC Thursday is Fulham versus Aston Villa with Lewis James and Lee Jackson. We'll also have Wolves versus Man City with Bradley Parker and Johnny Pringle the week after, before Gameweek 8. And I clearly don't want my phone anymore. And on Friday, Ask James stream. I am on parent duty on Friday, so it will be an earlier time this week of probably around about 12 p.m. UK time. Right, I think that's the important info. I think, you know, the spiel, the sell. All done and dusted. Let's see what we've got. Question rise. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Immortal Technique. Yeah, you're my guy. I've booted you. Yeah. Ragav says your take on Ange's Angels, mate. Well, Ange didn't seem keen, so no, I'm not. But it, might be something that sticks. Too many A's in my opinion. So no. But yeah, it might be something that sticks with the amount of kids we've got now. John Bailey says, I'm a Saints fan. Interested in your thoughts on Russell Martin staying firm on his style of play. Is there more? I can't see more. The style is fine. The biggest problem for me, and look, Monday night wasn't good, but the biggest problem was kind of clear when I reviewed the first half hour for a Talking Tactics piece for Advanced Tier patrons after Newcastle and Gameweek 1, and I was really impressed with what I saw, right? Because even before the red card, Saints were in control and playing well. But the clear thing was it was quite risk averse in the final third. It was more about control. And there's times where Southampton broke a line, broke through the first line, and then didn't punch the ball quick off to break the next line. And I just felt there were opportunistic moments where Southampton didn't move the ball quickly enough. The reality is, in this league, if you're incapable of scoring goals, you're in massive trouble. And that's the biggest problem with them at the moment. You look at the lineup, and you'll have had his reasons for what he picked on Monday night. But he picked a team on Monday night with essentially Dibbling and Mateus Fernandes as false nines. All right, it's fine. You're looking at the bench though, and it's like, how many number 9s are there on the bench? Is it 4? Is it 5? He obviously doesn't trust any of them. One of them lot has got to step up and score the goals. That's going to make a difference. Personal opinion would be actually that I think that of all those players, Armstrong is the most capable of being that guy. But we seem to have gone full circle with him again, where it's like, oh, amazing in the Championship, can't get a look in the Premier League. I'd like to see Saints, put their trust in him and play him for a little while, particularly where there's some games coming up like Leicester in 9, Leicester in 8, Everton in 10, Wolves in 11. You'll hope to do quite well, for example. So he's going to stick to his philosophy, and I don't think there's much point almost discussing it, because he's not going to change, John. He's not going to change. I also think there's something to be said for what happened with Vincent Kompany last year. Now, Russell Martin's not going to get the Bayern Munich job because his name doesn't carry in football in the way Vincent Kompany's does. But it might be something that earned him, I don't know, a West Ham job in 12 months or 18 months, for example, if it went wrong for Lopetegui as like an example. And so the philosophy is really important to these people. He's not going to change. He's not going to change. Southampton have got to find a way of being more threatening. Southampton, I think, unless their heads go down today, will have quite a bit of the ball at the Emirates today. But no one thinks they're going to cause any trouble. And on turnovers, I mean, the personnel at the back, frankly, it's not good enough. Now, is that the manager's fault? I don't think it is, because I think the club's been quite restricted. And the one thing it had to sort out was get a goalkeeper, which it did, right? So he's not going to change. It's almost worth not discussing it. So from your point of view, it's then from you as Saints fans, is right, are you happy to stick with it, or do you want change? If you want change, you've got to let the people at the top know. And I get it's not as straightforward as that. And I don't think he's so early in this, it's probably not time to panic. I don't like them comments on Monday night. I think that was ill-advised. King of Mandalore says, hi James, love your stuff. Whenever I watch your content and hear you talk about Son, I feel like it's always negative. Do you like him? And if so, is there a reason? I thought Spurs fans loved him. Love him. Legend, mate. Genuine. Legend. Legend of the football club. He's in like Tottenham's all-time top 5 goal scorers. I have been negative on him a lot because I think he goes missing in games sometimes. Like it's unquestionable when he's finishing and stuff, but if Sonny's not having goal scoring opportunities, I think we're at a stage now, which is part like he's getting a bit older, just lose him completely from games. And I've said that I think over the last 12 months or so that Tottenham should have considered cashing him. But like I love him. Just if I watch Tottenham, like who do you hope scores? Almost Sonny would be like top of the list, mate. So no, I love Sonny. I probably am overly negative on him, but it's about now. So there's a difference between analysing something for now and analysing what's been. Heung-min Son genuinely will finish at Tottenham as a legend of the football club. But analysing on now, yes, he should be in the team. I understand that captaincy is not important in the way it has been in the past. I think he's liked, but I don't know in terms of his decisiveness, how he is as a leader. And I think you only have to see the video that I think the Premier League channel posted in midweek, where out of Heung-min Son's own mouth, he said Christian Romero is the one that gets them motivated prior to games. That's the captain that said that. So as captain as well, I hold a higher representation of what that player should be in terms of the standard he sets for others. And there are times I think he's not, I'm going to say goes missing, but I don't think he's 100%. And I think he goes through now more phases where he's great and then phases of quiet. Listen, I wish he was fit and available and starting tomorrow, right? That's not in question. So when you hear criticism me of him, it's on now. Because what Tottenham need, and I've used reference like Matoma in the past, is Ange wants wide players who can go and beat their man one-on-one on the outside. And for Heung-min Son, that's quite difficult now. And it's not a blame of him. It's not a blame of him. So what Tottenham, I think, have tried to do in recent games just before the injury is try and work scenarios where you can pull Maddison more to the left. It's not having Maddison as a left winger, but it just allows in the build-up Son to get in more dangerous half-space zones, which is a bit better, rather than just sitting on the touchline. But on the touchline, you give him the ball and it's just coming backwards again. Because he doesn't have the own self-belief anymore, I think, to truly beat men one-on-one. on the outside. So that's where the criticism comes from. In terms of how I feel about him, love him to bits. Vishal says, non-FPL, how do you evaluate the defensive work of Saka when comparing him with the likes of Palmer, Foden? I'd separate Palmer, Foden, because I think it's the number one reason why Foden was getting selected over Palmer in the summer. We obsess on him on the ball. Yeah, Cole Palmer, I think, needs to, at this moment, still be fit into a structure that works for him, that doesn't show his own vulnerabilities defensively. You'd be miles away at the moment, really, from watching Palmer kind of do a true man-to-man marking job off the ball on someone. Have we seen that yet? I've seen Phil Foden do it. So that's why I think Phil Foden was largely getting favoured work. I think if you question Phil Foden's performances in the summer, I'd not question his work rate. I really think he was putting the effort in. Saka is great in terms of the work he does defensively for the team. So that's a kind of basic evaluation of those three players. Saka also obviously has a clearer structure and identity in what he needs to do because he always plays the same position. That's not the case for Foden, right? James Brenner says, hi James, would you rather manage Spurs for 10 years or Harry ends up playing for Spurs for 20 years and become a club legend, have a great weekend? Oh, my boy, playing, mate. So let's think about it like this, right? If I manage Tottenham for 10 years, we might be in a very, very bad place. You've already said with Harry playing, he becomes the legend. So that's quite straightforward. You might want to reword that. Jonathan says, James, any rule changes you'd make to football? For me, penalty takers aren't allowed to touch the rebound. They get rewarded for a 10-yard head start for missing. Enjoy your weekend. Nah, not for me on that. It's just where the players are positionally, because players need to be 10 yards away from the penalty taker. It's up to goalkeeper to make sure it don't go back there. I realise that's easier said than done. So no rule changes. I think the rule changes you made over the last couple of years about goal kicks and for other players to be able to go in the penalty areas has actually transformed the game in a really positive way. It's the best law change I think over since the back pass rule actually. Any law changes? We've not seen a lot of it this year, but I think the handball rule still really bothers people. And I would like that if it's not conclusive of deliberate handball, I would like handballs in the penalty area to be indirect free kicks rather than penalties. I think the punishment for something that can be accidental is just way too harsh sometimes. So that would be one for me. Andrew Jarvis is non-FPL question. I hope so at this stage, Jarvo. Who wins the next trophy, West Ham or Spurs? Okay. What would make me say West Ham to that question? Realistically, at the moment, I think if you ask most neutrals at the moment, and it might be someone going, "Hey, Tottenham never win nothing." Like, okay, just looking at the two teams, most people are going to say Tottenham, aren't they? What would be the reason to say, what would be the reason genuinely to answer that question right now and say West Ham? There isn't one, is there? Marcus Hanselm says, still confident about the hash brown challenge, been thinking about it, 20 would be my limit. Yeah, no problem, mate. No problem. I won't grass it up, the patrons know who it was, but one well-known FPL content creator messaged me in the week to try and challenge me for a chicken nugget from McDonald's challenge. And I said to this individual, I said, what you don't understand is you're a beautiful person and I'm just a little fat guy. You ain't got no chance. People don't know what they're setting themselves up for with me, mate. I don't need food challenges. That is, it's not good for me. But yeah, I'll do it. Park Beg FC says, hi James, hope it was good. Why am I seeing empty away-ins in so many European and domestic games? Yes, the Angers at Marseille, so many sections absolutely empty. I can't answer the reason for what that would be in Ligue 1. I don't know anything about it, mate. So there aren't away ends empty in the Premier League unless it's, with all due respect, a smaller club, i.e. a Brentford going up north, you're not seeing empty away ends. So I can't speak for what the reasons might be in Ligue 1. I'd just be blagging, mate. The Liverpool lineup is in. It's Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent and Shimikas, the fullbacks. Midfield is McAllister, Jones, Gravenberch. It is Salah, Jota and Gakpo. Luis Diaz, Dominic Szoboszlai, Andy Robertson are all substitutes. The Crystal Palace lineup has a change. Jean-Philippe Mateta is a substitute. Ismaila Sarr starts, so that would suggest Eddie Nketiah as the 9. They put Jefferson Lerma back in midfield, which I think they had to do. It's something they should have been doing previously. And Trevor Chalobah gets a start for Palace. BMAC, thoughts on the Spurs v Rangers game and the competition format in general? Look, Tottenham have obviously played in it the last 2 Thursdays. I found it very difficult to be motivated for it. Partly the opponents, but I look at it and I think, what's the worst case scenario here? The worst case scenario realistically would be that Tottenham don't finish in the top 8 and have to play an extra game in February and join the effective last 32. Or playoff round stage, whatever you want to call it, rather than jumping straight to the last 16. That's the worst thing that's going to happen. There's next to no chance that my team's going to be eliminated. So, in terms of jeopardy, I mean, Tottenham would have to be drunk, wouldn't they? They play 8 games in that tournament and not, pick up sort of like a point per game might even be enough to finish in the top 24. Tottenham would have to be drunk, right? So, and I've seen drunk Tottenham, but not normally over an 8-game span. So there's no jeopardy. There's no jeopardy on it at all. I think that means you're liable to, the more we get used to it, get some more random results, because I think like that's the worst case scenario for people. The bigger clubs is that's what it's going to be. Oh, top 24, okay. So we have to play an extra, but you might rest players now and have the extra game then. So, the benefit later on, yeah, but that's Tottenham resting players now. Okay, if to do the job and finish top 8, which we probably should do, but especially with the 2 results we've got so far. Like, great, cool, we skip around, but if we don't, we don't. We ain't going to finish in the bottom places, 25 to 36. So, from a jeopardy perspective, for a club like ours in Europa, it just doesn't really feel that way. If it was in the Champions League, I think that jeopardy does exist more, quite clearly. But even still, you'd look at, and I know Villa have won the first 2 games, but no one would have expected Villa to get eliminated at this stage, would they? Really? So, and I get it, it's be special for Villa because the first time in it, I get that. But, football's about jeopardy. And for my club, there would be none in that Europa League. There's no jeopardy till February. If we got AZ Alkmaar is the next game I think we've got in that. I'm taking Nico, actually. I bought him a ticket. If we lose, we lose. What? Listen to the commentary on Thursday night. Glenn Oddle, our club legend, doing my head in about our Tottenham defend. I'm like, Glenn, you watch us, mate. And Sam Matterface. Why did I have to get Sam Matterface on a fucking Thursday night? Seriously. Sam Matterface literally said, after in injury time, he said Tottenham can't afford to throw away points here. Well, why not, Sam? Like, what's actually going to happen? We draw instead of we win? Bloody hell, mate. He was making it out like an equaliser was going to eliminate us from the competition. Like, calm the fuck down. So anyway, thoughts on Spurs v Rangers game at Ibrox, BMAC. Yeah, I'll be there. You might not have any content on Friday, December the 13th. I'll tell you that now, because that's probably going to be quite awkward. But it's also Suj's work Christmas party, so I don't know if anyone's doing any content that day. You'll live. You'll survive for a day if that's the case. Really looking forward to it. I'll get up there. Really looking forward to it because it's interesting in terms of a fixture to see Tottenham play at a great historical British stadium like that. It's the biggest stadium in Britain that I've not been to. So really looking forward to it. I'm going to take my dad on a bit of tour of Glasgow beforehand as well. Look at Parkhead and Hampden Park and stuff. That's the plan. So yeah, really looking forward to it. But if Tottenham lose. It won't matter. It won't matter really. The other games are way more important. So I think Ange has got it right at the moment in terms of sort of like 6-7 changes. That's the right thing to do at the moment. As far as non-FPL question, do foreign managers usually struggle with media and their perception as much as Ten Hag? Feel so sad for him as a human more than a United fan. Yeah, I understand that as far, and I think you've put that across fairly well. I'm trying to think of different. I think Emery used to get the piss taken out of him quite a bit, didn't he, in terms of the language side of things. But then you take someone like Slot, and I don't think because of that you don't think of him as foreign in the same way, or like a Jurgen Klopp. Like the grasp of the language is fine. Oli Solskjaer before Ten Hag, grasp of the language, superb. So yeah, it doesn't help, I think, how supporters will grasp onto that. But then Pochettino was someone who did originally really struggle with English, and it never stopped the Tottenham fans' adulation to the man when he was in charge of us. So yeah, I get the feel sorry for him as a human. He also does repeat himself a lot and come up with excuses quite a lot as well, which don't help. Mustafa Gamer says, hi James, what's your opinion on Van Nistelrooy if Ten Hag goes? Cheers, have a great weekend. I think, look, he'll do the job on the interim basis if he does really well, which United might do with the fixtures they've got coming up. There'll be a clamour for him to get the job because he's a legend at that football club. Incredible goal scoring record. I saw a record in the week that he was the second quickest player to 50 Champions League goals, I think. I mean, what a great number 9 he was. So I could see that clamour from United fans to want to give him a chance. In terms of how well we do, I couldn't tell you, mate. I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't have watched enough of his PSV Eindhoven team to truthfully give you any opinion that was anything more than a blag, mate. FPL Spartan says, hi James, will you be doing any Cloud Sky content and or a fixture collaboration with the Empowering? Currently 5th in the game at the moment. No, there's no intentions to do so. I wouldn't have a clue where I'm ranked at the moment. It's certainly not there. I know that. I'm playing, but not playing, really. I certainly would have missed deadlines this year where I wanted to do something and just forgot. There's possibly a knock-on effect impact to that, by the way, and listen, it's early doors. But many people who've watched me for a long time will know FPL hasn't been my favourite game. It was Sky Fantasy. FPL's now my favourite game. And I'm at the moment doing quite well in it. So I don't know if there's anything in that or not. Again, it's early doors. It could all go to shit for me, clearly. No, follow Ian's content, of course. But no, I don't anticipate that I'll be doing anything on it, to be honest. Yankee Gruber says, why is Salah overlooked as captain this week? Palace is weak defensively and Salah is only 6 points behind Haaland with the start that he's had. And this is now a non-FPL space. The benching dilemma is stuck on page 4 and someone's only flagging that now. Really? Well, they're not now. There you go. What you say is the people now. Hillbilly says, hi James, thanks for the answer earlier. I hope you and yours well. You too, mate. Bonjour says, yeah, that's fine. We're not doing FPL now, mate. Good luck. Have a good weekend. Jerry Dharma says, hi James, do you think Steve Cooper is serious trouble if you fail to win at least one game from the next 4? Oh yeah, many of the Leicester fans don't want him there, so certainly one to keep an eye on. Jake Barker says, morning James, who is in the dugout at next game at Old Trafford in your opinion, and how much would Big Ange cost? Ruud van Nistelrooy is the answer. I do agree that Manchester United should go for Ange Postecoglou, and I'm being genuinely serious about that. I mean, look, manager costs. If United want Ange, and if Ange wanted to go to Manchester United, then he'd go, wouldn't he? I'm not sure that Ange would take that jump personally, actually, which is remarkable. But I'm not sure that he would actually. I think he'd probably stay. I don't know if that's naive or not. Yeah, but he should be. Yeah, genuinely, I think he should be top of the list for Manchester United. Next is Yeah, Ahmed, I'm not doing FPL now, mate. Joe, I'm not doing FPL now, mate. This is the non-FPL bit. Have a great weekend. I wish you well. Ragav says, what warrants a player getting a statue at the football club? Is winning silverware essential for that? No, not at all, because not everyone can win silverware, right? So, with respect, if you played 700 games for Bristol Rovers, sorry, Dan, and you've never had a promotion in that time or anything, are you potentially like club legend and warrant a statue? Yeah, so it's different for every single football club, isn't it? Does a man have to have a statue? No. Here's one for you. In fact, very recently, right up at Newcastle, Sir Bobby Robson never won anything at Newcastle. A statue of him outside the ground. You'd never question it why it was there. Alan Shearer never won a trophy at Newcastle. Would you question it being there? Record goal scorer in the club's history. No, it's personal for every single club. Jimmy Hill at Coventry recently. Don't think he won anything at Coventry. Might have won a promotion maybe. Didn't win anything. Whereas the 1987 manager John Sillett, I think it is, who won the FA Cup in 1987, there isn't a statue of him outside the ground. So every club be different, mate. Hillbilly says, during the stream pre-deadline, do you enjoy the pleasantries or do you prefer we get to the point and speed things up? If I was in your shoes, I'd go back and forth depending on my mood. a little bit. This stream felt bad. The two streams last week felt fucking ridiculous because the questions were crap. Yesterday and today were much better. I don't know if people took that on board. So yeah, when the questions are good, the stream will be better. Essentially, how good this stream is dictated by the quality of the questions, right? Me being able to read them concisely and then put an answer together whilst I'm reading quickly. That's what's going to help the quality of the stream, is the questions, probably more than anything I do. King of Mandalore says, follow-up question on Son. Do you not think the club should have hired a manager who would get the best out of Son, your best player at the time of the appointment, albeit too late now? No, listen, mate, that's the big mistake that Tottenham made, was trying to get managers in that would get the best out of Kane and forgetting what was required for the rest of the football club. So, no, mate. Son is not of a world-class level anymore to be considering that sort of thing. FPL, I'm not going to get through it. Right, I'm going to... Filip Bischevich, it's the last question I'm going to cover. Please don't put any more in, guys. I'm going to rattle through these because the wife is going to kill me. FPL Frazzle, one last question, James, about Patreon Advanced Tier. What kind of chats happen in the Advanced Tier Zoom call? And they normally happen while I'm at work, so I haven't managed to join one yet. It's open field, mate. So we can get on and we'll just start talk. Whoever's on the call, I don't know who's going to join the call. We just join the call and we just chat. And then what I'll certainly do is, depending on how many people join, at a certain point during the call, I'll give everybody the opportunity to ask a question. To get everyone involved. That can be fantasy, can be non-fantasy, whatever anybody individually wants to ask at that time. It's open chat, so it could be that it's hot topic. I imagine, for example, this last week was quite a bit of Manchester United discussion, I think, understandably, quite a bit of FPL chat. I imagine there'll probably be, maybe not this week, but the week after, probably England chat will probably come up as it's during the international break. So if you want to join one, mate, you can dictate what is discussed. You come on and talk about mental health if you want, mate. Talk about anything you want. Graph P says, you play Super 6, if I remember. You're good, Joey. No problems. Have a good weekend. Adrian 45000 transferred in. Yeah, okay. We're not doing FPL now, mate. K Adams says, who's most under pressure this season to succeed? Ange or Eddie Howe? Eddie Howe, I think, because I don't think I'll just explain that, because I think in terms of the club's hopes and expectations this year, there might be a little bit more pressure on Ange, just in terms of us having European football. In terms of, there's more chance for us winning the trophy because we've got one more competition that we're in and it's winnable. We are favourites for that competition, so maybe a little bit more there, Ange. But I think at the top level, if Ange doesn't win a trophy this season, and we have a very similar season to what happened last season, Ange is under no threat of losing his job. I think if Newcastle have a similar season to what they had last year, I think Newcastle will change at the end of the season. So that's why. FPL Spartan saying 137th in Sky. Cool. I don't know if that's good or bad, but thank you. Adam Cooper says, thoughts on Man City asking for the first 2 games of next season to be postponed. If the Club World Cup happens, that's a certainty. And it'll be the same for Chelsea. Yeah. We will start next season with blank game weeks if the Club World Cup happens. You cannot expect them to play the Club World Cup and, have the final in July and then just play the same start time as everybody else. You've got to have a break, haven't they? The players have got to have a holiday, and then you ask them to come back to what level of pre-season? Yeah. The only problem with that is, when do they play each other? Or when do they play the catch-up games? Where's that going to fit into the calendar schedule? Yikes. What they would be well advised to do under that schedule is make sure that they schedule Manchester City and Chelsea to play each other in one of those 2 weeks to make it easier to arrange. So you find a week immediately where, say, it's the League Cup second round or something like that, and they play each other. Get it done. That's a certainty. There's no thoughts on it. It's a certainty. Will says, do you play fan track? No. Mustafa Gaming says, no one knows how we do. Just wanted to know your opinion. Good luck for the game against Brighton. Looking forward to the Clayton James show. Thank you. I've already forgotten what that's in relation to, mate, but thanks. Filip Bisachevich, sorry if I mispronounced this. Hi, James. Keeping tabs on your lonely Vuskovic in Belgian League. I watched a 5-minute reel of him this morning, and I warned our patrons on Slack. I was like, don't watch the Vuskovic video that's going around because, Jesus. It's like we've bought a combination of like Franz Beckenbauer and Nemanja Vidic. Like, what is that? He looks like a phenomenal talent, but these highlight reels will always make that seem the case. That at the moment, Ange referenced him in pre-season as well in terms of not just buying a centre back for the sake of it, because he's probably going to rejoin the squad next year. And judging by what I watched this women competing for a place in the team quite quickly. Tom Jansen says, if you visit England for the first time to attend a football match, which stadium to go to? It depends, right? So I think the best stadium in the country at the moment is White Hart Lane. Now, obviously I'm biased in that, right? But I think that's an opinion a lot of people would share at the moment. But I could also understand that it doesn't hold the history yet of Old Trafford. You walk through the Munich tunnel area and you can feel the history of Manchester United, or when you walk around Anfield and the Kop. And so I depends what you want a little bit. I don't think it's not like a set answer on that. My honest answer would be, like, if you want the experience and the enjoyment of the football match and the quality of the seating, etc., then the best stadium is ours. But it depends how you view it. Jerry Darmiu says, ignoring Wolves' next 2 games in 8 and 9, do you think Gary O'Neill's gone if he fails to win a single game in their favourable run? Well, I mean, in their favourable run, they've gone to game 17 and they haven't won. Yeah, he's going to lose his job, isn't he? So, but as I said on Monday, I hope they give him the chance to win games in that run. Yemi says, how would you solve Man United's defensive issues? Change the manager, mate. That's the first thing. Philip says, yes, Vuskovic is a unit, hoping he makes an impact when he comes to Tottenham. Why am I still reading questions? I said I wouldn't. K. Adam says, is Kulusevski playing his best football at the moment since joining Spurs? Yes. Yeah, I think that Old Trafford is probably his best performance for the club, actually. And he's had some very good ones. Again, particularly in away games. I don't know why that happens. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Have a great weekend. Hope your hours are green. Support the show on Patreon as you can. As a reminder, you can join up as a free member. Have a look at the best bits vid and see what you think if you want to join and support the show. No one's promising to make anyone a better FPL manager. We just try and make the week more enjoyable. Simple as that. Have a great week, everyone. So you'll be back with me for the game review on Monday. Ciao for now, everyone. Thank you. Smash a like.